Hare Krishna, everyone. So, in this session, we are going to look at chapter 4, verse 11 of the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Before we begin, we're just going to do the pranam mantras. So, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nite Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashkatya Deshitarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Right, so chapter 4 verse 11. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tamstateva bhajamyaham mama vardmanuvartante manushyaha partha sarvashaha. English translation: as all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. So we're going to explain this very briefly and then go into details. So Krishna here is saying that everyone follows his path in all respects. So what that means is that there's different kinds of religions, different kinds of worship, and so some people may say worship Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva or some other demigod, or some people may worship the sound vibration, Om, or the impersonal form of the Lord. So in effect, everybody is worshipping Krishna because he is the supreme personality of Godhead, and he is the enjoyer of all sacrifices. So all the worship is ultimately reaching Krishna, but it may be done in indirect ways. So if we're going through the demigods, that's an indirect way. Krishna, who is the supreme personality of Godhead, he can be fully realized by the devotees, only by the pure devotees of the Lord, but he can be partially realized as well in his impersonal Brahmajyoti effulgence, and as the all-pervading supersoul, the Paramatma within the heart of every living being, within everything. So impersonalist, those people who say that God cannot be a person, cannot take on a form, these persons, the impersonalists, want to eliminate their individual existence, and so Krishna helps them by absorbing them into his Brahmajyoti effulgence. So these people, they just don't want to have anybody. They do not want any more suffering, so they want to end the cycle of birth and death. However, they want to do that by merging into the effulgence of Krishna. And so they lose their individuality. So after birth, after death, they want to go as a soul, hang out in the effulgence of the Lord, which is not exactly great, because there's every chance that they fall down back to this material universe of misery and trouble, as opposed to if we go back to Krishna's spiritual planet, Goloka Vrindavan, where we serve him in different races. So fruitive workers who want to enjoy the fruits of their activities, for them the Lord awards the desired results of their prescribed duties as Yagneshwar. Those who are yogis and seek mystic powers are awarded such mystic powers. So actually everyone is searching for Krishna. Some people may know it, some people may not know it, but deep down our soul is yearning for connection to Krishna. We're yearning to connect to that supreme reservoir of pleasure and love. But we may not know it because of material conditioning, because of the illusory energy of the Lord. Actually, everyone is searching for Krishna and is on a path leading to him. Therefore, all kinds of spiritual processes are just different degrees of success on the same path. Success depends on Krishna's mercy. So, whether one is without desire, or desires liberation, or to enjoy the fruitive results, one should, with all efforts, try to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead for complete perfection. So let's look at the bit where Krishna says, as all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So let's look what Krishna means by this. So basically what that means is, if we surrender to Krishna fully, he also fully reciprocates with us. So reciprocation means that Krishna takes care of his devotees. Krishna says in some part of the Bhagavad Gita that he carries what, for his devotees, he carries what the devotees lack, and he preserves what they have. And another verse he says to Arjuna, he asks Arjuna to declare boldly that his devotee never perishes. So what he means by this is that he's there and he personally takes care of his devotees. So if we surrender to Krishna, say only 40%, then he reciprocates 40%. So that's what he means. In proportion to our surrender, he reciprocates. So we should have full faith in Krishna, and we should surrender fully. Now, I think it's good to describe, to explain what faith means. What does faith in Krishna mean? So faith in Krishna means that we have full conviction that if we worship Krishna, only Krishna, we surrender to Krishna, that Krishna will take care of us, and that we will achieve all perfection of religion, all perfection of our life by surrendering to Krishna. Devotees who seek Krishna without expecting any benefits in return are pure devotees. So I think we have to mention that different people may approach the Lord for different things. So some people may be seeking relief from miserable conditions. Say somebody is sick, say some terminal illness, and they've lost hope. And so they approach Krishna with the hope that he will cure them. So that's relief. Or maybe somebody's very poor, so they approach Krishna for relief of this miserable condition. So that's one category of people who approach the Lord. And there's another category, so they may be approaching the Lord for knowledge. So they may be seeking intellectual. So the intellectuals may be seeking for knowledge, scholarly knowledge of the soul, Paramatma, right? That's the second category. Another category of people may approach the Lord for wealth. Another category, they may approach the Lord just because they are in a quest to find God. So then there's devotees who just want to worship the Lord. They do not worship the Lord ask for something. They're not in a business transaction like, okay, God, so we know a lot of people do this, God, please do this for me, do that for me. And then when God by his mercy may fulfill our desire, we just forget about him. We'll only remember God when we're in distress, when there are reversals in our life. So that's not the proper attitude. Pure devotees, they don't expect anything from Krishna. They know that Krishna, he's the husband of the goddess of fortune. He is the Lord of the universe. He can do anything. By his desires, everything happen. We know that Krishna is supreme, but we don't approach him to ask him for things. We simply have the seed of bhakti, and we just want to worship him and please him. That's pure devotional service. So the definition of pure devotees are those who actually only want to satisfy Krishna's senses. They want to serve him. So if we look on the left, so there's the picture of, in Krishna Leela, the fruit lady. Excuse me. So here we see that, so we know the story. Once there was a fruit lady who had a basket full of fresh, juicy, sweet mangoes, and she was calling out, fruits, fruits, who wants my fruits? And at that time, Krishna wanted the fruits. He had seen his parents bartering fruits for something else. So when he saw that lady, he ran into his house, and with his little hand, he picked a handful of rice and ran towards the lady. But as he was running, the rice grains were falling to the ground, and when he reached the lady, by the time he reached her, all the rice had fallen out of his little palm. When the fruit lady saw Krishna and his amazing beauty, her heart melted with compassion. Her heart was full of love for this little beautiful child, and she was won over, and so she accepted the few grains that were left in his hand and piled her fruits on Krishna's chest, and in his arms. She piled as many fruits as she could out of love for this beautiful child, and Krishna was very pleased with her love. We know that if we offer something to Krishna, it has to be with love and devotion. So here we see that what happens is Krishna glances at the lady's basket and it gets full. It gets filled up with the most amazing jewels and gold. So we see that we reciprocate, we give a little bit to Krishna, and he gives so much to us. He is very grateful for every little bit of love that we can show him. He reciprocates. In this material universe, in this material world, we all have experience of relationships. People we love, we may do so much for them, but in return we get nothing, and they are ungrateful and maybe complaining even. Every little bit that we do is not that we're seeking for recognition or anything, but we know that people can be ungrateful sometimes. So here Krishna is never ungrateful. Every little bit we do for him, he acknowledges, and it's never lost. The benefits go into our spiritual bank account. So we have nothing to lose if we surrender to Krishna, if we serve Krishna. We have nothing to lose, and in fact we have a lot. We have everything to gain. There is a saying that when Krishna has hundreds of arms, and when he gives with 100 arms, and we cannot accept. We have only two hands to accept what he has to give to us. So we can't accept everything. We just cannot. And when Krishna decides to take, we can't save it. He will take it from us because he has 100 hands and he can take it. And that was just something that came to mind. So, bottom picture, we're looking at Dhruv Maharaj. So we know the story of Dhruv Maharaj from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Dhruv Maharaj, he got upset because his father wouldn't have him on his lap. His father showed preference for his sibling, so for his brother, and he got really upset, and he wanted a kingdom greater than his father, and he wanted to be powerful. So upon the advice of his mother, he worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He went out in the forest and did some tapasya there, because he was told that the only person who could help him was the Supreme Lord. So he wanted a kingdom greater than his father, and he worshipped the Lord for that. But when the Lord appeared before him, because he had become purified by contact with the Lord, so when the Lord appeared and asked him for whatever he wanted, asked him what benediction he wanted, because he had been purified by bhakti, he understood that he had been looking for broken pieces of glass. So that means he wanted a kingdom which is material and not really of value, actually. It's just like broken pieces of glass. And he said, but I have found a diamond. In the end, he found the diamond of bhakti, of the Lord. So he said, "O Lord, I desire nothing, because I have found you, I found devotional service, I found bhakti yoga, which is the actual treasure in life." He was simply satisfied to see the Lord. However, we know the Lord is so merciful that he gave benedictions. He gave benedictions to Dhruva Maharaj. So one thing we have to point out is, so we said pure devotees don't ask anything from the Lord. They're just simply happy to serve. But we're not pure devotees. We may have desires. And even then, people who have these material desires, they should still approach Krishna. Because when you approach Krishna, in the process, just like Dhruv Maharaj, you become purified by chanting the holy name, by carrying out devotional service. Little by little, we may have some material desires, but we become purified. And if we continue on the path of Krishna consciousness, we continue to be with devotees. So ultimately, we become pure devotees. So let's say we have a desire to become wealthy. So we should still approach Krishna instead of maybe approaching demigods for these material benefits. When we approach demigods for material benefits, they do award us those material benefits, but excuse me, we get those things and we enjoy them, and that's it, and then we're still trapped in the cycle of birth and death. The difference is when we approach Krishna, we get what we want, and we have the bonus of becoming purified from this desire to enjoy material things. We become situated by the mercy of Krishna in devotional service, and we no longer have to be coming back to this world of suffering. We go back to the spiritual planet, because remember, only Krishna can award us liberation. So this is the bonus of approaching Krishna as opposed to demigods. So so here we have the story of Nimai being kidnapped by two thieves. This is to show us that the consciousness with which we approach the Lord, it's the Lord reciprocates with our consciousness. So we know Nimai. Nimai is no other than Krishna himself in the form of Lord Chaitanya, who appeared 500 years ago in this Kali Yuga on this planet. So Nimai was still young. He was a little boy, and his mother had decorated him very nicely with shining jewels. So while he was playing out there in the courtyard, he attracted, because of his sparkle from those jewels, he attracted the attention of two thieves. So the thieves started making plans. Oh, why don't we kidnap this child and steal all his jewelry? We will become really rich if we do that. So they approached Nimai while nobody was around. Nimai was just a little child, so they said, "My little child, come with us. We'll give you sandesh. We'll give you sweets. Come." So they kidnapped Nimai. They put him on their shoulder quickly, and they walked away. So their intention was to take Nimai to the forest and plunder him, and God knows what they would do with Nimai after that. And so Nimai, he happily sat on their shoulders, and they were feeding him sweets, so nobody would recognize that they were kidnapping a child. And they took Nimai towards the forest. But you cannot kidnap Krishna, you cannot kidnap him. So by the illusory potency of Nimai, these thieves got bewildered. They thought they were walking towards the forest, but in effect, what they were doing is just walking around, coming right back at Nimai's house. So then they reached the house, and the thieves got bewildered. Oh my God, where are we now? We've come back to the house. They didn't want anyone to know. They knew they'd get into trouble because everybody was looking for Nimai. So quickly they put Nimai down. They ran as fast as they could. So everybody was so happy to see Nimai. To see Nimai was back. because Mother Sachi had been in such a turmoil. She's really panicked, and she thought she'd lost Namai. So the story is there because I wanted to talk about something. So when the thieves were carrying Namai on their shoulders, now just imagine if we had the opportunity to carry the Supreme Lord in his baby form on our shoulders, what would we be feeling at that time? We would be in ecstasy. We would be like, we would be so, our hearts would be melting with love, and we would be completely blissful, right? But what do you think these thieves here were feeling when they were carrying Namai? They were feeling anxious, scared, afraid of being caught. They were not relishing this because of their bad intentions. They were full of anxiety and fear. That's because of their consciousness. Now, let's imagine the same thing. Let's imagine Mother Sachi carrying the Lord. What does Mother Sachi feel at that time? She feels happiness, bliss. That's because of her consciousness. Because she loves Namai. Because of her consciousness and her love and her devotion, and she feels bliss. But the thieves, because of their bad consciousness, were not feeling love, and they were not in bliss. So this is to show that our consciousness matters, and the Lord reciprocates with our consciousness. Now, let's look at different ways to approach Krishna, because Krishna says that everyone follows his path in all respects. But some people may not be directly worshipping Krishna, so they follow a different path, but ultimately it leads to Krishna, so it's like following his path. So Krishna is the object of everyone's realization, and thus anyone and everyone is satisfied according to one's desire to have him. We mentioned the Gyanis. They just want to acquire knowledge. They're not interested in loving devotion to the Lord. They just want to be, they're attracted to the impersonal feature of the Lord, the sound vibration, for instance. They want to merge with Brahmajyoti. The Brahmajyoti, by the way, are the rays of Krishna's transcendental body. So Krishna is in the spiritual world, the spiritual kingdom of Vaikuntha Lok, in Goloka Vrindavan, and because of such brilliant shining light from his body, that's called the Brahmajyoti. It's very bright. It's this bright strip called the Brahmajyoti. Yogis meditate on the Paramatma, so Lord Shirodakashaya Vishnu, in their hearts, and so the Lord reciprocates with them as well. Pure devotees like to worship the beautiful form of Krishna, Bhagavan, with loving devotion. So this is the form of Krishna in the spiritual world. Okay, Krishna. So the last thing, we'll just look at devotees in the spiritual world. So Krishna reciprocates with his pure devotees in the transcendental attitude, just as the devotee wants him. So in the spiritual world, we know some devotees want Krishna as Supreme Master, so Krishna is Supreme Master. So in Vaikuntha Lok, devotees who are there, they worship Krishna in awe and reverence as the Supreme Master. So they're in the servant form. Some people may want to worship Krishna as a friend, Sakha. So Krishna is, he agrees to be the friend. We know the Cowherd Boys. They were in a friendship with Krishna. They enjoyed different games with Krishna, joking, laughing. They were taking care of the cows together. Some devotees want Krishna as their son. So So Krishna agrees to become their son. So we see Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda relishing their relationship as parents. And then we have the conjugal relationship where devotees want Krishna as their husband. So the gopis, they enjoyed Krishna, and they enjoyed the relationship with Krishna as a lover. So Krishna is so kind that he reciprocates with the devotees in whatever way they want him to. So so that's the end of our little description of this verse 4.11. So our conclusion is that we should surrender to Krishna and serve him with love and devotion. An easy way we can do that is to chant the Maha Mantra, follow the 4 regulative principles that our founder Acharya Prabhupada has given us. These 4 regulative principles, which are no intoxication, no meat eating, no gambling, and no illicit sex. These 4 principles will help to elevate us and purify us, make us be in a good state of mind, in a good frame of mind, in a good sort of lifestyle which is conducive for practicing spiritual life. So keep chanting Hare Krishna, everybody, and we'll come back in the next session for another verse. Hare Krishna.